The views, comments, and opinions of the following program do not necessarily reflect those of Morris Media Studios, MorrisMediaLive.com, or its affiliates. Listener discretion is advised.
You know, we're going to lighten it up today and learn at the same time. I got something for you. Just listen up. You know, growing up, I swear I had two great parents to teach me how to read outside of school. But had I not had that, I would have been okay in the 70s. You know why? Sunny days, keeping the clouds away. Remember that? How about C is for cookie, that's good enough for me? Do you remember that? Where'd that come from? Or butterfly in the sky, I can go twice as high. Take a look, it's in a book, a reading rainbow. Remember that? How about conjunction, what's your function? You know, I always mumble the rest of the words. Why is the studio laughing at me? I got some pipes, okay? Not compared to my next guest, okay? How about that? I got through it, okay? Do you guys remember shows like Sesame Street? Come on now. How about Electric Company, Romper Room, or supplementing our learning as opposed to pads or video games? Not knocking technology, but are our kids learning? When you are too busy doing your work, providing for your family, that's just the way it is now. What can you trust to occupy your little one or little ones while they learn at the same time? What if I told you I had a backup? What if I told you I had an answer to that? What happens when a successful and respected recording artist gives back to encourage children to read again? Stick around. I brought the backup. Let's talk. This is Mentorship Moments. Each one teach one.
Sometimes you just gotta make it happen. Gonna make it happen. Gonna make it happen. Just make it happen. Just make it happen. Just make it happen.
All right. Please forgive me for my melodious voice. I trust me, I got a better voice coming right now. Let me get right to his bio and let's get it cracking. You know, my guest today needs no mention, but I'm gonna mention it anyway. Everybody knows this man right here. His name is Mr. Jesse Campbell. What an incredible man. The artist, Jesse Campbell. Let me read his bio to you, okay? And you might hear a little something, you know, as I'm reading. You know, there are only a few artists that have a signature sound that you can immediately identify with. Jesse Campbell, son of Bishop Willie James Campbell, rest in peace, is one of those singers who is an inspiring international recording artist that sings heartfelt songs of God. His dedication to his gift is unprecedented. His passion for the music he brings forth has a spirit-filled intensity that permeates directly into the hearts of his audiences. Originally, his greatest attribute and his charismatic personality, coupled with his courageous energy, is a winning formula in today's ministry of music, and it is overall ministry. Jesse, like the Apostle Paul, desired to become all things in music to all people that he may reach some, and we will get into that in a second. As a result, Mr. Campbell became an internationally known sensation on the hit show The Voice. Now, hey, does that ring a bell, guys? Where 40 million viewers got a glimpse of his electrifying, euphoric vocal abilities. During his blind audition, all four celebrity judges, including Christina Aguilera, Adam Levine, CeeLo Green at the time, and Blake Shelton, turned their chairs in such a delightful unveiling event. It was one of the first four-chair turns, y'all. Born in Chicago, Illinois, Jesse began singing at the age of 16 when he began leading songs with the church choir. Immediately recognized as a unique talent, Jesse was soon featured on recording of gospel greats, the Winans, and Timothy Wright. In 1994, Jesse signed a major recording contract with Capitol Records imprint Underworld Records. His debut album, you remember this? Never Let You Go, included the hit single When You Cry, I Cry, which charted strongly across the country. Soon after, Jesse struck again with the smash duet, Where Is the Love? He can do it better than I can. From the soundtrack, from the movie soundtrack, Dead Presidents, Where Is the Love helped push sales of the soundtrack over 500,000 units and into certified gold status. His popularity led to appearances on Showtime at the Apollo, BET's Video Soul, and most importantly, his favorite, Soul Train. He recorded songs on the DreamWorks animation entitled The Prince of Egypt and Warner Brothers animation, The Lego Batman Movie. 3 of T.D. Jakes' recordings and his feature film, The Lady, Her Lover, and Her Lord. Jesse's discography consists of over a dozen recordings, including his inspirational recordings sessions and his latest single that topped the charts, Can't Live Without Your Love, both which were independently released and are currently available via iTunes, SoundCloud, and Spotify. Ladies and gentlemen, without further ado, and I know I bragged upon him, that's what I do with my guests, Mr. Jesse Campbell. I got the single. Hey, what's up, Jesse?
What's up?
I see you out there practicing your social distancing and keeping your mask on. Gonna need you to pull down just a little bit so you can talk to us. Make sure you're getting like a socially distant space. How you doing, sir?
And I'm doing very well. A lot better. I'm on the phone and the internet talking to you.
Man, I'm so excited to share this new project you have going. But I definitely want to talk about your journey too. But before, let me stand by a minute, give you a few shout outs. A little birthday shout out to Mr. Brian Butler, man. I forgot to do it last week, but it's still November. Happy birthday to you. And let me do a memorandum to Bishop Willie James Campbell, your father, sir. I got a chance. Thank you for allowing me to watch the procession, man. It was a very strong service. You did him with dignity, as we should do with our parents. I love it, man. And without further ado, man, I want to thank you for being here on a difficult time. You committed to it, and you could have changed plans and shifted gears, but you took the time to be amongst the living, man. And I want to thank you so much for it. Hey, do we have a little clip, just a little bit of that of his last hit single that we can play? Oh, yeah. Oh, man, that CD is still popping. Can't Live Without Your Love, man. You can still get it on iTunes, man. Check it out on YouTube, man. There's a story behind it that I find pride in that we'll definitely talk about later. Got another video we're gonna brag on you about, man, as we progress. But now let's get to you. Now, briefly, I know you have this major project that you announced a couple of weeks ago, and then I was checking you out on Facebook Live when you made the announcement, and we had talked about this earlier, and I'm so thankful that you honor me with your secrets, and I can't wait to be a part of this project soon. But it's been a long time since we had a great show for children. So can we talk about the project? It's Mr. Jesse's Reading Journey. Tell us briefly about it. We'll come back to it, but I want you to just give people a taste of what that's about.
Well, this is about me using the talents and the gifts that God has given me to the talents of singing, voiceovers, animation, acting, and other talents to bring universal content to life for children. And this particular part of the Mr. Jesse YouTube channel, it's Reading Journey. So I use these talents to bring stories to life for kids to get to interactively partake in the reading and the singing and some body movement and dancing and things like that. Just make it more of a reading, learning experience in a fun, edutaining kind of way.
Now, let me ask you this. How much of an inspiration were your daughters or the people you raised? How much of an inspiration was that to get this started?
Well, when my daughter was in kindergarten, first, second, and third grade, they would have Dr. Seuss night. And this was before I knew the truth about Dr. Seuss back in the day. But the fact of the matter is, those readings of his yet brought joy to children. And so what I decided to do on Dr. Seuss night was to read the stories, but read them to a rhythm. And I'd have the children snap along or clap along and things like that as I read the words to the book because they're rhymes to the rhythm. So it's about rhymes and rhythms, and that's how my daughter, unknowingly influenced me to do what I'm doing right now. And then also, then we had our own bedtime stories. We have a very, very loving relationship where her mom wasn't around as much as she or I wanted, but I did everything I could to make up for that difference and just make her feel as much love as possible.
Man,
That's how
man.
she influenced me and her friends. So
Well, Jesse's so much more than just a new project, So for those of you that are in the music business and you have questions on growth, we're going to talk about that too. You can call in at 323-815-4204. That's 323-815-4204. All right. Jesse, we're going to talk more about your project, but there's a journey that gets you to these new epiphanies and success. I always say success is about evolving and not staying in the same lane. But thank God for gifts, because gifts and talents keep you relevant.
yes.
Can you tell us, and we go back a long ways, and I can share that, for a time, I was blessed to be his personal trainer for a minute. So I saw a lot of his journey, and I saw some things that I'd love to share. Life is not so rosy pretty, man. Jesse, it was a grind for you, man. Can you tell us your humble beginnings and some of those peaks and valleys? Let's talk about success.
Well, my journey began in church where my dad, being a pastor, um, he would often have various recording artists stay at our home when they would come to visit. And one of the groups were the Winans. And the Winans told my father, well, hey, y'all, Jesse can sing. And my dad was like, Jesse is a drummer. Because I was shy and I would hide behind the cymbals and support my dad. But dad made me learn a song and sing it in the choir that very next Sunday. So that was on a Tuesday. So that was like the beginning of it. My desire was to play drums, but dad made me get up and sing a song in the choir. And then as a result of the response, I was like, okay, I can do this. So I began to do more singing with the choir, then with the group, and then solo. And then from there, I wanted to join plays, and I began to join the off Broadway play circuit, and I did that. And then from there, I wanted to record a secular, other than gospel album, so that my grandmother, who was very deep and spiritual, would be able to listen to it and not be offended. And each of those situations, I met opposition. There were roadblocks, regardless of what experience it was, they came with roadblocks. And to make a long story short, and I'll share one or two of those roadblocks with you, but I learned later in life that the roadblocks can become stepping blocks, either down to defeat or up to success.
Wow.
And as a result of all of those experiences, that's the conclusion that I've come to. So I just really, truly believe that challenges and opposition, it's just a part of life. But it's how you relate to yourself while you are going through these how do I say, like experiences that becomes life's experiences. So that's kind of the deal. But fast forward, I did something like, and I often say I forget those things that are behind me and I press toward the mark of the prize of the high calling that's in Christ Jesus, which is my imagination. And I do that, but when I reach back in the past and I bring up something to the present, it's to help people to get to their future. And it's simply because I've learned to trust in God. And yes, it sounds good, but I've learned to acknowledge God in all things.
Awesome.
So situations like, let's just go right to The Voice because most people know me by The Voice. Well, before The Voice, I had a recording contract, opportunity. Well, I had a contract on Underworld Capitol Records. I gave it up because I was fearful of going to hell as a result of possibly being out of the will of God. Then I had an opportunity to be with Clive Davis, and it was said that I was going to be his male Whitney Houston, and I gave that up because you sing whatever he tells you to, and I'm like, well, what if he tells me to sing something that's not pleasing to God? So I passed up and canceled that meeting 2 weeks before it was to happen. Then fast forward several years, and I had a contract with Cunningham, Escott, and Dupini, CED, but now it's CESD, for voiceovers and animation work. And when I signed with them, they said, you're going to make us so wealthy. And I said, and you're only going to get 5%? They were like, yes, signed with them. 3 months later, they call me in and say, hey, we appreciate you ministering and traveling and all, but we need you here and available for these auditions so that we can get rich. But I, in my ignorance, said, I'm going to continue to minister. But thank you so much for the opportunity.
Wow.
I felt like as I was walking out of the office, God was just shaking his hand like, my.
Well,
But it wasn't a my, like, yes, that's my son. But it was like, dude, what are you doing? I keep giving you all these opportunities. Now, it was all based on fear. But now fast forward, having a rock bottom experience where I couldn't afford to pay anything and I was behind in all my bills. I cried out to God long and hard, and I heard the voice of God. And it said, I never told you to pass up on those opportunities. I said that a man's gift makes some room for him. Room is and always will be opportunity. And then I was like, okay, God, pardon me.
No, I was going to say, I want you guys to key in on that. When God gives you a gift, it raises your platform for, you never know what the journey is. He just gave you the gift. So, he was rolling with that. Let me back up a little bit, because I felt like I was a part of the voice in the sense that, no, I wasn't your singing coach. But
oh, no, we're going to get to that. Absolutely.
But since you brought it up, I'm going to detail. And it's also in my book, Navigating Through the Valleys of Success. I have a chapter that details everything that went down with Jesse. So we'll give you an abbreviated version. So Jesse wanted to get, when he came to me, he wanted to get in shape. Because he was holding something in. He says, I can't tell you everything that I got going on right now, but CJ, I heard about you. We met through Pastor Wayne Chaney of Antioch of Long Beach, and then we developed this relationship. Man, we got him in the best shape, 6-pack, everything. And I'm like wondering why. So he goes, hey, Cleon, after the Super Bowl, I want you to turn it on Channel 4. Oh, Channel 4, okay. Oh, it's The Voice. Whoop, whoop, whoop. All right. Sure enough, I promise you, my wife, my family, we were watching. It was him on stage on The Voice. He killed it. He was one of the first 4-chair turners ever. And he did it in one note. And then as we're watching the show, we're following one of the greatest voice battles, knockout rounds ever recorded in history, that had all of the judges bowing down. Now, here's where we talk about letdown, because for those of you that have the gift, you're going to run into a lot of letdowns. And I'm going to detail on my end how this broke my heart. And Jesse, you can chime in. So I'm watching, and that night you had performed with one of the judges, and you killed it, you nailed it, and then, as I recall, then it was like they were getting ready to kind of vote out some people, as the show goes, and I sat there and I said, oh, honey, Eva, babe, I'm gonna go on to bed. Jesse just killed it last week. I ain't gonna worry about it. I hit the bed, and just as I start to snooze in pride, my wife screams, Cleon, come downstairs right now, So I came running downstairs, like, what, babe? What's going on? I was just getting, they booted him off. I said, no, rewind. No, rewind it again. No, rewind it again. I could not believe that, and no knock of the other singer or the young lady that they let pass, but there was no comparison. I felt like, now I can only tell you how I felt being as a part of the comment. I love attaching to great people. I felt like somebody drop kicked me in the chest, because you clearly were the voice, period. That show, I thought, this is my opinion, that show needed you more than you needed it at the time. That's what I believe, not pumping your head up. No, how was Jesse feeling?
Well, when they said it, during when we were leading up to the show, all the prep and everything like that, I ended up running into for all 4 of the producers. And I thought it odd after I thanked the 4th producer. And it was to the point when I saw the 4th one. And I didn't even know that there were 4. I was like, I just want to thank you for this opportunity for someone 42 years old to share with the world. And she said, what's going on? What do you know? What do you know? And I was like, nothing. So that kind of made me a little weird, leery about what was happening. But when it happened, I wasn't thinking that she was going to say my name. But when she said my name, it was like, oh my God. I never fainted, but I was like, oh my God. And I was like, hey, Jesse, dude, the world is watching you. You have to represent. You have to represent the church. You have to represent your people. You have to represent, decency and integrity. So I lifted my head up. And when he brought the microphone over, I said, I lived a dream. And how I relate to myself while in this process becomes the process. And I am grateful. And I was good, but I was like a zombie. I was like, and all the cameras, like it was like you wouldn't believe, like you would see on a movie or something. I had so many cameras, so many flashes, and I was like, God, what's happened? What's going on? But I was okay. But it wasn't until 2 days later that the emotional upset came. And I wanted to go through that place like Jesus in the temple and just start smacking cameras and turning over some tables.
Can I take over? Can I take over here for that part? Is it okay, Jesse? Jesse, 2 days later, he's I'm sorry, but I love you, man. But people need to hear. Okay. People need to hear how, because the comeback is so sweet. It's so sweet. Mm-hmm. Trust me. He's at the gym. He's preparing for the next workout. I actually had to walk outside the gym, and I just saw him sitting in the car, and he got out the car. CJ, life is good. We're going to pick up. We're going to go. I said, come on in the gym, man. We came in the gym, and there was a moment of silence. Man, now, we manly men. There was a moment of silence, and there was two men literally hugged up crying, actually getting that sensation of appeared failure.
I'm glad you reminded me of that, because I sure did, man. I was so broken at that point. I tried to be hard, and CJ trained me to defend myself and trained me to be healthy. We lost 5 pounds of fat and gained 5 pounds of muscle in a month. And I just felt like I can do anything. That was before I even knew I was get on the voice. And when it was all said and done, I'm like, what happened? But I got to keep going. I got to keep strong. Let's go. Let's do this.
So how would you tell, and I tell this story because we all go through, I had my setbacks. The formula is the same. How was your resolve, before we move on, how was your resolve and recovery? Because this music industry is hard. Well, life is no joke in itself, but the business is hard. Do you ever feel like maybe I was too good, or maybe I didn't dummy down enough? What was your thought process? Because it's competitive.
Well, no, it is. I felt like there were things that I could have done, but I had different signs, but I was so enamored and just grateful for the favor of God, because I got on the show 30 days into the second season because of God's favor. And that same favor continued throughout the show. And there was nothing I had to do. So it's like when one of the producers came to my room, because I left, and you're supposed to stay sequestered in the hotel, on the hotel grounds. But I left to take my daughter on a 45-minute trip back to where she was staying, because she had already missed 2 days of school, but they wouldn't get the transportation for her. Mm-hmm. And when I came back, they were like, oh, you're going to be punished, so go to your room. And I was like, well, okay, first of all, I am 42 years old. Nobody tells me to go to my room. Now, you do whatever you're going to do. I'm a grown-ass man. But I'm going to go to my room because, what'd you say?
I said, I'm a grown-ass man.
Right, exactly. But I did, and she came up to the room, and she was like, why did you leave? And when I told her, she broke down in tears and apologized, because they dropped the ball. But this was their second season. Wow. I knew that there were going to be mistakes, so I just let it be. But through it all, you know what? It's one of those situations, again, where I just learned to trust in God, because the industry, I signed up for a singing reality show. Right. And I knew more so at the end than the beginning that it's all about good TV. That's all it's about.
Well,
you have not really heard of any big successful artists coming from that, because it's not about that. It's about good TV.
Exactly. Well, you talk about a reality show. The premise of you getting on that show was your story. And I remember you grinding. Would you mind talking about how you were homeless on that grind?
Yeah. Well, the thing is, I've learned that it really, there's a difference in homeless and houseless. Okay. So I was definitely houseless, because even in my dad's passing, I just wanted people to know I would never be homeless with my father, but that's something that they needed for good TV. They need a good story. You get what I'm saying?
Yeah.
So, but when I was houseless, it was a point where, God, what are you doing? I have given up my whole effing life for you. I have turned down $1 million opportunities after opportunity after opportunity, and you've allowed me to suffer such a fate as this. You know what? I'm just about at the place where I just feel like telling you to F off, because this don't make no sense. I'm sleeping in a car with my daughter on my chest outside a 24-hour Vons in Santa Monica to feel safe and secure. This don't make no sense. And I went to sleep, and then two people came to mind, and one of those people was Bishop Kenneth Omer, and the other one was Ty Sharp. And Ty owns a business called Everlasting Carpet Care. And he's like my brother in LA, and Bishop Omer. So I went to meet Bishop Omer, and Bishop Omer basically gave me some money. We talked spiritual. And after he finished doing all that spiritual talk, I said, okay, Bishop, that was great. But look, I need some money. Are you going to give me some money or not? So he laughed. I laughed. And he gave me some money. I stayed with Ty Sharp and his family for a few days, then put me in a hotel. And that's how I began to okay, God, thank you, first of all, for being able to handle my anger.
Wow. Wow. Well, my book is called Navigating Through the Valleys of Success. That church,
Yes.
that whole chapter dedicated to Jesse Campbell is huge. And we're going to give this one away because after The Voice,
sweet.
After The Voice, there was some performances. He was hot for a minute, and then for a minute, the industry is serious, man. It got cold for a minute. But then about maybe within a couple of years, 3 or 4 years, Jesse kind of dropped out of sight. We hooked up the train for a little bit, and then he would go in and out, up and down. We saw this journey. And then talk about your gift coming back. I'm driving down Manhattan Beach with my family after church. I think we're going to get something to eat. And out of nowhere, I was listening to Sirius XM, and I heard his single drop. And I started praising. I started praising God right there, because I'm like, this man started from the bottom up and down. Now we're here. Talk about navigating through the valley. How did that feel having your single come out?
Well, first of all, let me just tell you, it's a matter of I have to keep going. There's a quote about David Talbert just said it because Bishop Jones told him. I think he said the success isn't in the finish line or whatever, but the success is in the journey or something like that. But the point is, it's the fact that I just decided to keep moving. I made it onto The Voice as a result of being true to my word, being impeccable with my word.
And that you
and
are.
I continue to do that. And what are you gonna say?
No, I said that you are. I was complimenting you on that. Everything you've said,
Thanks.
you speak it, you pray it, and it happens. I'm watching this.
Thank you, man. That's a good reminder, because I'm just believing God for some other things, and I'll tell you about that. But the thing is, I went and I continued to serve other people. I didn't do them for free, but I'd give away things for free, but I would serve using my talents other people. I went to Mexico, and I ended up having to share a room with somebody. I don't share no room with nobody, but they couldn't afford it. And I'm like, well, as long as y'all pay me, let's do what we got to do. Turns out I knew this guy. So we had a really, really cool, relationship and all that stuff like that. And from there, I didn't get to stay and enjoy the resort because I already agreed to go to the East Coast from Mexico to sing at a wedding for a church where they didn't have much at all.
Wow.
But they had a whole lot of daughters. And they said, when my first daughter get married, you got to sing. So I went there to sing. Sang there for a discounted price, even because I had so many gigs lined up. I even double discounted the gig price to sing at the wedding. Wow. Got there and was disappointed because it was so long. I was so tired. I was so ready to go because they waited. This took them like hours to start this wedding. But I kept my peace and I let the Lord handle it. So bottom line is, after I finished singing, this woman walked up to me, and she was tall and she was big in stature. And I was like, hi. She's like, you don't remember me, do you? I said, no. And then she was like, what's wrong with your voice? Can I help you? And she just ran off all these questions, about 7 questions. Do you mind answering? So I answered all of them. And then she said, do you mind if I help you? And I said, how could you? She said, well, my family came into a blessing a little while ago, and I want to be a blessing to you. Come to find out that I sang at her brother's bedside just before he made his transition in a hospital.
Wow.
Because I would oftentimes go and visit hospices, hospitals,
Service.
and retirement homes when I would go to other cities and states to minister. I actually ministered at his bedside, and when I left, she said, "If I ever come into some money, I'm going to be a blessing to Jesse Campbell."
Oh
And
man.
that woman's mother hit the lotto, and they won 400 something million dollars a year or so earlier, and each one of the kids got 30 something million dollars. And she was a blessing to me. She never forgot what I did for her and her family umpteen years ago. And as a result, she's the one that sold into me to bring about that single that happened on that day that you heard that song.
Man, what an incredible story. What I got out of this and what you all need to understand is your talent is your goal with your talent is also to be of service, not to just get paid. The blessings will come when you have a gift. When the gift, that's the thing that never leaves you. It only leaves you when you don't use it. Mentorship moments, man. Each one teach one. Jesse, I'm on high. I'm on cloud 10 right now. I got to get this out before we get to your project. November 20, I'm high right now. Oh my God. November 27th, and I'm high on life. November 27th, we have a virtual event. The Black Business Expo is back. And guess who they invited back again? Your boy, CJ, or Coach CJ. I'll be giving a live fight fitness seminar, and I'll be on a panel discussion with pro athletes and coaches talking about financial wealth within our community. And we had a very engaging panel discussion last time. It's about to be fire because I'm about to challenge these guys again, and we're going to get together and we're going to make some changes for our community. So Black Business Expo, a different kind of Black Friday, November 20th. It's a virtual event. You learn to shop and play, learn from 30 speakers and workshop. I mean, we are business entrepreneurs giving back in our way. We're giving our knowledge, panel discussions, and I'm going to put y'all through a little fight fit workout, as we call it. So get ready for that event. I'll be there. Miracle Holloway, Jazzy Rita. We got Dr. George Fraser, Kim Anthony, Reverend Dr. Joseph Bryant. This guy's awesome. And Marcus Odgen. It's going to be awesome. You don't want to miss it. Come, just go Black Expo. Get your tickets, only $20. Come get your knowledge and let's grow this community. All right, Jesse, back to you, and let's get your project because I want to make sure that is showcased. I want to give everybody a little sample of Mr. Jesse's reading journey. Take a look, a little sample of what's coming to our children as we move forward.
Everybody, I'm Mr. Jesse, and welcome to Reading Journey. Well, this journey takes us to and through a book called Beautiful Blackbird by Ashley Bryan. And we're going to mix this reading with various rhythms from Africa. Hey, would you like to sing with me?
Yeah!
Yeah?
Yes.
Well,
yes.
Would you like to dance too?
Yes!
Awesome! So, when we're singing, just repeat after me. I'll say, uh-huh. You go.
Uh-huh.
Say, uh-huh.
Uh-huh.
Yeah! Then we're going to mimic a bird. So, do this. Chirp, chirp, chirp.
Chirp, chirp, chirp.
Chirp, chirp, chirp.
Chirp, chirp, chirp.
Yay! It's going to be so much fun. So, stay to the end. Hey, now let's get reading.
All right. So you got a sample of that. This is and Jesse's going to totally tell you how to get a view of that and grow this. It's incredible. We don't have that anymore. Since one of my favorite shows was Reading Rainbow. And Reading Rainbow had LeVar Burton. This guy was amazing. You know, the guy from Roots, and he made himself more of a legend, educating kids in reading. We haven't had that in years. So I wanted you to get a sample of that. This is his new project. And what's so amazing about it is here's a guy that's been on the world stage. You know, he's sang in Russia. He's sang in Mexico. He's sang all over the world for pop, R&B. And you know what? And now he's coming back to give again for the children. So do we have Jesse back up? Okay, we'll get him back up, and I'll just keep talking about it. Now, the first time he showed this to me, he told me about some more ideas that he had for the show. And through that, we're going to talk about community relations. We're going to talk about, how to not be afraid of your first responders. I'm talking about law enforcement too. So it's a great product, and I'm just going to keep bragging about them until we get him back up. And we got Jesse back up. All right, cool. So Jesse, you back with us? Getting just a little bit of feedback.
Yes,
all right.
yes.
Good. Yeah, we had to cut out just for a minute just so we can show the video. We didn't want
That's
any.
cool.
Yeah, so we just, man, you look like you're glowing again. You're glowing more than ever. What the hey? All right. So
Hey, man.
I just showed that clip of, and I probably needed permission to show more, so we just gave a snippet of Jesse's reading journey. How did you come up with that concept? And are you the CEO, executive? What? Just blow it up, man. Tell us about it so we can share the wealth in this community.
But you know what? Just before, I'm going to tell you something that I've only mentioned one other time. Just at the beginning of the year, I was asked to be the newest and the latest member of the original Temptations. You knew this.
Yeah, I did. Yeah, I keep secrets.
And yeah, no, I don't mind telling it now because it is what it is. And I believe it was a preparatory experience
Another
for
lesson.
the next. So what ended up happening was I had a line of things scheduled before I could go out with the Temptations to learn the material. My father always taught me to be forthright, be honest from the beginning. Therefore, that way people aren't blown. There are no surprises. But bottom line is they rescinded the offer. And this was after I had already canceled thousands of dollars worth of work that would have took care of my responsibilities for months in advance.
Wow.
Now I'm sitting there like, God, what am I going to do? I didn't get upset because I've been through things like this before. So I just said again, God, I acknowledge you in the opportunity and I acknowledge you in where I am right now. So whatever, whenever, let's just keep it moving onward and upward. So what ended up happening was I was contacted by someone in Florida, and I ended up going to Florida and doing a church tour. And I had performed at 4 churches, a total of 5 times, and I had 3 more to go. Then the pandemic hit. Mm-hmm. So I rushed home, and my daughter was sent home from college, and I'm looking at her because she's looking at me like, okay, what are we going to do? Our government, we don't have any leadership. What are we going to do, Dad? So I was quiet because I trusted in God. But because she was a little agitated with me, I'm like, oh, little girl. And I was like, little girl, I used to sing for her at her school and do Dr. Seuss. And they were always like, you should do something with that. And I'm like, oh my goodness, I can do this. So I got my small MacBook Air computer and I began to study and learn how to do what you witnessed. So after several months, I ended up having a total of 3 videos. And the point is, like I said before, it's to bring content to light that whereby kids would, because when you see a movie, you can hear a sermon and you can come home, leave there, feeling good, but you forget. You can hear a song, but you remember the melody, even if you don't remember the words.
Yes.
So I'm like, how can I tie these things together to help children to learn and how to remember reading and other, educational things. So that's basically how it came about. And the point is, from the beginning, when I started talking about all the things that I gave up and the other people that invested in me but were micromanaging me, and I couldn't do what I really wanted to do because they thought that they knew what was best to do, and because they were paying for it, I had to. No, but God was like, now, see what I have allowed, see what I have done. So I was able to use the very talents that I gave up out of fear. And let me share this last little thing. You gotta go.
No, you gotta. I'm good. We're good. We gotta go. We go share it. Inspire.
Right, so the thing is, during this pandemic, toward the end, like just before the election, I'm like, God, what's going on with this fear? And I've always asked God the tough questions. God, what's the deal? Okay, if all things are created by you, for you, And if there was nothing that was created that wasn't created by you, and if you created the heavens and the earth and all this stuff like that, and if you're omnipresent, what's the deal with fear? Why did you create fear? But then you say, fear not. And then you say you didn't create us with the spirit of fear, but that of love, power, and a sound mind.
Amen.
And then you say, fear the Lord thy God. What is up with you and this fear? Man, this is ridiculous. I don't understand this. And then you said that it said that you're not the author of confusion. Well, I am confused. 2 days later, I'm on my computer and I got YouTube up there on the screen because I'm studying and learning how to do what I'm doing. And do you know, as I took a break, I was like, oh my God, I took the headphones off and the woman was on and she said, fear is just a tool of awareness. And I said, oh God, so just like that, God. But that was beautiful. I received that. And that's what it's about. And then God took my mind to how the country is so fearful. And the reason is because they're becoming aware of the systemic racism and hypocrisy of our own country that's been there since its inception. And the world, I've been to 24 countries. They were asking me to pray for their country because their leader wouldn't give it up when he was supposed to, even though he lost the election.
Wow.
And now our president is doing the same thing.
Well,
so
Jesse,
they wanted me to pray.
Jesse.
Yeah. So bottom line is, let me get to the point. So,
Okay.
so they wanted me to pray for them. But here we are, in this situation. I'm like, fear. So that's why the world is fearful, because they're becoming aware of something that they did not know. Because if the people perish without, for the lack of knowledge, and all by getting understanding. And when you have knowledge, you have understanding, you have power. But it's what you do with that knowledge, that understanding, and power that becomes powerful. So bottom line is, I was able to understand fear to the point where I was like, my God. So that's why I gave up all those things, because I didn't know you. I took other people's word and their interpretation of your word at face value.
Preach.
But it wasn't until I dug deep and began to peel back the layers of the word that I got to the core, which is the true God. Now that I know God, I don't have that fear.
Oh my God.
So now God is like, go forth, use the things that you gave of the singing, use the voiceovers and animation that you gave of the CED contract, use the other talents of acting and so forth and so on, and be a blessing to the future, which is our children.
Well, I was gonna ask you something, but the look on your face is priceless. I think your body language, your glow answers the question, and I've experienced this. Is there freedom now? And does freedom and success equate to money or your happiness in giving? Can you share that?
Yeah, here's the thing. Yeah, absolutely. Well, here's me knowing God like I do now, like never before. Now I can truly forget the things that are behind me and press on toward the mark of the prize of the high calling that is in Christ Jesus. And because of my getting the understanding of who God is, I understand that Jesus is that mind of Christ. It's your imagination. And then God brought to my remembrance all of the things that I have successfully manifested as a result of thinking it first and thinking on it so to the point where I began to feel it, and then it actually manifested. So with that being said, what do I have to fear? I certainly don't have fear of death, because absent in the body is present with God. So my thing is, I'm not going to fear what God has for me, even in death, and I'm certainly not going to fear it in life. So therefore, I am free. I am safe. I am healed. I am whole. I am entitled to miracles. I am free of limitations, free to forgive, and free to be a part of saving the world.
And
so that's, man, you didn't got me fired up, man. So there is ultimate freedom in God when you really, truly know God for yourself. Last thing, Bishop Omer would always say when he's teaching the word of God, don't take my word for it. Don't take my word for it. My desire is that you would go home and study it for yourself. And that's what I did. And as a result, I know God like I've never known before. And I'm not worried about this election. I'm not worried about supremacy, this, supremacy, that. I'm not worried about, the hypocrisy, because I know vengeance is mine, saith the Lord. God's got my back. God's got your back. God's got our back. As long as you put your
Jesse.
back in the hand of God, he got you.
Jesse, listen,
Yeah.
I'm dying because I wanted that to go, because I wanted you guys to see what real joy in success, and when God gives you a gift and you're using it at this moment. Right now, Jesse Campbell is using this gift to help children, to educate, to get us back off the iPads per se, back into reading, and I want to be a part of promoting that. I actually want to be a part of how you heal the community through this, how you heal our children's mind after they're so socially indoctrinated with high extreme left, extreme right,
Yeah.
this, that, the
Yeah.
cancel culture. We didn't have that in the 70s. The shows that I grew up on was about togetherness. It was about working it out at some point in time, fixing your different. Oh my God, Jesse, you got my energy up, my man. I'm losing it, man. I'm about to jump out. But hey,
Hey, yes.
as we continue, I know the holiday season is coming up, and I did ask you earlier, if there's a little jingle you can throw our way, because I started off the show, with a little melody. I'm not a singer, you are, but as we close this, I want to remind you that if you can close out with a little something, if it's an honorarium of your father, I'd appreciate it. But I want to continue with this journey that you're taking. So, how do people get a hold of get on the Mr. Jesse's reading journey? Because we want to make sure we get that out there.
Well, I appreciate it, and I thank you all in advance because, we need each other. We have to support one another. So I do appreciate the support. If you go to YouTube, and if you type in, once you're in YouTube, just type in the words Mr. Mister, and Jesse, Mr. Jesse, Jesse. And then there's some other Mr. Jesse's on there for right now. But as it relates to children's product, you'll see me on there with the beanie, a red hat, and all that stuff like that. And when you get to the page, if you would just press the subscribe button. Subscribe isn't requiring a payment of any kind. It's just so that you can be notified of the next Mr. Jesse video. But if you just go to YouTube and type in Mr. Jesse and click the subscribe button, that means a lot. It means everything to me.
Now, let me
That's
brag.
how I would really appreciate it.
Let me brag on you a little more since we've got the time. Jesse, you're more than just a singer. Your platform has promoted you to acting. I've seen you on numerous stage plays with some of the best of the best, some movies. Man, what is that like for someone aspiring to walk in your path? We had this conversation before about wealth versus money, but wealth versus your platform. You've been all over the country, Russia, all over the world with your gift. It's almost like you didn't even need money per se. No, we always need money, right? Because that facilitates our lifestyle.
Yes, God.
But the
Absolutely.
joy in your gift have never let you down. Trust in your gift. Can you elaborate on that before we begin to close?
Well, the gift, it's what makes room, and the room is opportunity. Everybody has something that they can do well. And when you put that in God's hand and do that which is for the greatest and the highest good of others, of all concerned, and not just you, then things happen more efficiently. You don't have as much challenge because people will become enamored with you, and they'll want to know what they can do to assist. And it's a good problem because everybody that offers their services, they're not skilled in those particular areas that you need. So it's just about, using the gift and practicing. It's like when I sing, I don't just sing a song to be singing it. I have to study the words so that I can know what I'm singing, so that I can convey the message of it efficiently. So when you begin to use your gift, God begins to make opportunities for you to use your gift, use your talent. And that's kind of how it happened. But I think I may be missing the main question. Was it a particular question that you asked? Or you wanted me to start
you are totally answering how I'm pretty much want to talk to people on how the gift, along with your show and everything that you're doing, the gift has carried you through your life, the ups and downs.
Oh, yeah. And that's it. And the other thing about that is even when I have the most down moments, when I had that moment when I was so angry at God, I began to sing hymns. I began to sing praise songs. I began to sing love songs, even in my disappointment with God. But I still continued to use the gift, not knowing that the gift was making room for me, even as I was on the floor in my bodily fluids that were draining through my nose and my mouth and probably my ears and my eyes. But the fact of the matter is I continue to use the gift, because if you bury the gift, then what good is it? A gift really isn't a gift until you give it away. So God gave us gifts that we may give it away. And when you do so, it makes room. As you give, it's better to give than to receive. It's just saying give because you're going to receive. And that's kind of how the gift works. But you got to use it. And as you use it and do what you know to do to the best of your ability, God will conform the things of the universe to meet you where you are, to get you where you need to be. Come on, somebody.
You know what? Go ahead and preach. Hey, calm down, Jesse. He's about to have the Holy Ghost in here. But let me expound, because people express the Holy Ghost a little differently. I'm more of a calm Holy Ghost guy. I get energized.
Yeah, no, I feel you.
But it's all gifts. Listen, it doesn't matter. And we're going to close, but I'm going to challenge Jesse a little bit. First of all, before I move forward, Jesse, do you know the song This Christmas? Donny Hathaway? Okay, don't.
Yeah,
Okay.
I know
All right, great. So we're going to I'm going to show you the difference between an amateur shower singer trying to entice my wife to fix another plate for me and the difference between a professional singer in just a minute. We're going to do a little bit of This Christmas together. You'll see the difference between amateur and professional. But I want to close by saying this, guys. Everybody, Jesse just said it. Everybody has gifts, and your gifts elevate your platform. I've put it out in this book. I put that formula in this book, Navigating Through the Valleys of Success, because the formula is the same. My gift was fitness, but my fitness and my professionalism gave me a whole nother platform to do other things, to be on panel discussions, to talk about other things. Somebody else may have more quieter gifts. It may be book writing. You may be journalist. Once you attach and you know it feels good, go with it, because you never know. That little book you wrote, that little poem you wrote, might put you on the grand stage as a TED Talk for success. I'm telling you, that's what this show is about, and I wanted to keep it motivating and lighthearted. I know we've talked about fixing and healing, but this one is about growth no matter what. Keep your faith in Christ. Keep your faith in God. Meditate daily, and trust me, the gift that you discover will take care of you. How do you know when it's a gift, man? Just take the time out to pray and meditate to the Lord, okay? And that's just it. He will give it to you. You'll step out and do something and say, you know what? That was easy. I never did that before. Like Jesse talked about his father taking him off the drums and singing. He probably knocked it out the park. His father recognized his gift, you know? Somebody might speak into your gift. Please understand that nothing's handed to you. Your gift gives it to you. Now, here we go. Now, Mr. Jesse's A Reading Journey. Find it on YouTube, you know, and I'll definitely put out a plug as we, and I'm sorry, guys, for the my Facebook Live people. Me and Jesse got to talking, and I'm sure you had questions. I couldn't even see you guys on my screen, but hopefully you got something. I promise I will engage you guys next week. But we are going to the holiday season. And Jesse, a lot of us are going to be indoors because of the pandemic. And I just want to end lighthearted, right? And to give hope. And after you show me out, you know, we're going to give a message of hope for this holiday as we go into the new year with new events, new leadership, hopefully. And we're going to move on in from there. So this is me. This is The Voice round 2. This is CJ trying to entice his wife to give him another plate of that delicious chicken that she made. And this is Jesse Campbell finishing off. This is This Christmas. Are you guys ready? Are you ready, studio? Here it is. Don't laugh at me. Here we go. Okay. Hang low the mistletoe. How I'm gonna get to know you better. Jesse, go ahead.
This Christmas, fireside blazing bright. And you know we're caroling through the night.
Yeah.
And this Christmas will be a very special Christmas for me.
Oh,
Yeah,
man.
yes, it will.
Yeah. I love you. I love you, man. A message of hope,
Love you too, buddy.
a message of inspiration before you go, man. Just a quick message of hope and inspiration. And by the way, next week we're back at a more serious topic. We're going to talk about police and community relations again. I have a special guest, Sergeant Tom Datro. It's going to be great. We're going to talk about what we have been doing and where we need to go from here. Jesse, can you close it out with a word of inspiration?
Well, during these times of challenge and difficulties and things like that, there's a lot of other things that you can think on. But if you think on the things that are lovely, think on the things that are pure, think on the things that are true, think on the things that are just, think on the things that are good. If you think on those things and meditate on them, you're going to bring about more of that same energy. In the beginning was the Word, and the Word was with God, and the Word was God. The Word is energy. So if you think on good energy and you feel good energy, you are going to bring about good energy. Do that and move in the direction of your desire. And when you do so, doing what you know to do, you will be a whole lot further along the road and closer to where you want to be than where you were before you began. But start in the mind, because thoughts become things.
Man, guys, this is Mentorship. I told you I bring nothing but heat and credibility to this show. I am hell bent on fixing the inner things, the belly stuff of our community so we can grow together as we grow financially. We're going to talk about financial health. We're going to talk about spiritual health. We're going to talk about physical health. We are going to fix some things right here. So it's never going to be what you think. We will always inspire. This is Mentorship Moment. Each one teach one. We are the village. I'm high. I'm about to go do some push-ups. You don't have to be a fighter to feel like one. Let's talk.
Gonna make it happen.